about to get intimate. We're about to get real. I want nothing but good vibes, good energies. Good vibes, good energy. I want to thank everyone again. And I want to thank you, Joey, for being here on the 4th episode of the Earth to Mars podcast. Woo! Oh my God, Joey! Wow! You graciously accepted my invitation to come up to Mars and tell me what's going down in your little corner of the Earth, and I really do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, it's not even a choice. It wasn't even a question for me. It was just like Mars podcast, easy from there.
Yeah. So if you don't know, my good friend Joey, he is a what isn't he? He is a TO, long established TO who was running at one point like 2 to 3 weeklies a week at Austin. What was like your point? How many? 5 fucking weeklies? Do you know there's 7 days in a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 5 days. One time we got caught with 5 days, and then EXP share, which is a training event on Sunday. That's like 6 hours. So like, yeah. Okay. So like I said, I don't even know what. You're also a very well-established commentator. That's actually how I knew about you, because of your commentary work in this scene. That's how I had known about you, seen you about and around. I know that you've been getting into streaming now lately. You've been having a consistent schedule, and you've been trying to get into that. I want to talk about that a little bit as well. And overall, great guy, really nice guy. I like Joey. Joey's great. Joey's good people to have around. I really do appreciate it. And you know, I was saying a little bit before the show had started that I try to at least have some type of ideas or something I could give to the guests, just so they have something to chew on and work on. I always want whatever they want as opposed to what I want to talk about, you know, just to get, I want to dig into their brain, right? But I try to throw them something, but Joe was just like, nah, bro, we good. Let's just go. Yeah,
we got it.
What do you want to hear about, man? I'm an open book, and I can talk about anything for a long time.
Right. Yes, 100%. And I mean, I was saying right here before we started as well, is that like you have like a lot of time working and like commentating in events, right? Like you've been doing it for quite some time. How far back does it go that you've been doing it? And when was it a period that you were doing it like a lot, right? Or
so surprisingly, it's not as long as it might appear.
Okay.
Like I was in the Smash circles since probably 2008. And then somewhere in there between 2008 and 2016, I took a 5-year break somewhere in there.
Okay.
But a lot of that time was spent in the Smash community. And I was aware of commentating and streaming as like a part of a standard part of a regional, but I never dabbled at all. And then it wasn't until I went to Texas Gamers Lounge's monthly in 2018, February, I want to say, might have been March, that they didn't have anyone on stage, and I had already lost in bracket, and I was like, whatever. I was just like, I don't want to leave because I want to hang out with these people, and like I think maybe had plans afterwards, and so I was like, okay, so I think I drove hockey. It might have been that, but I got up on stage and I was like, okay, I'll do the commentary thing. I'll try it out, and like it was like a fish to water. I promise you, like I felt like as I was doing it, I was like, oh, I'm good at this. Okay. This is gonna be good. I was like, I'm good at this. And then I was commentating with somebody who I'll never commentate with again. And I was like, okay, he's not good at this. And then I was like, all right, let's cycle some people in here. Let me commentate with all of them. And it was just so easy to carry it. And I feel like back then I had made a decision like then. I was like, okay, I like commentating. I'm gonna start commentating. And I'm not. It's just because I'm already going to be at these tournaments, and I'm already going to go 0-2, 1-2, max 2-2, knock it out of pools. Like, I'm already going to be there. I might as well make it the most out of it. And I was like, I started going to, like, the same amount of tournaments I was going to, because Austin traveled pretty good during, like, high times.
It's fairly central. I mean, pretty damn central.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we were able to get to everything. So, you know, I started commentating, and I want to say 2018 was a lot of really, it was a lot of networking. It was a lot of being one of the only people in Texas that was traveling for commentary, because people did commentary in their city. People didn't travel for commentary.
Gotcha.
Right. And like if you were going to a big major in another city, you had plenty of time to get your name on a list and get on a schedule. But a lot of the times, some of those people would still be in bracket or they would cap or, whatever the case may be, there's an extra slot. And so I would just find my way in. And like I had a plan the whole time. Like when I decided after that tournament, I was like, I'm going to start commentating. Because what I did directly after going to that tournament is I watched myself. And then I started like,
genius.
okay, I got to do this less, do this more, do this less, do this more. And I was like, this is going to be easy. This is the top is already in sight. Like, and so I just started churning out these tournaments, talking to people and being friendly and being liked and like starting to getting to know people and getting to know the streamers, the commentators, and just the whole like world that existed the whole time that I was in it, but that I had never actually tried to mingle into. Like I want to say the most of the time that I was a player at all these big tournaments, I only talked to my carpool usually, or like the direct friends I had. Commentary actually opened a lot of doors in terms of conversations to people who otherwise probably wouldn't talk to me. That's one thing that's like a jaded part of me as commentator. They didn't talk to me until I was talking about them on a mic.
Gotcha.
And then they started talking to me. There was
Get
a lot
my
of
good
like
side.
But that was probably till 2019, a year in. Actually, that might have been 2017.
I'm trying to tell me, can you go by game? So like, are we talking, this all started around...
Actually, you're right. Smash 4 is where the TGL tournament was. Must have been 2018. February 2018, right. February 18, Smash 4, into 2018, Ultimate comes out. March 2019, I start TOing. And that's it. Like, so like, I've been TOing less than a year. No, a little. Technically I've been TOing a year. Corona kind of cucked me. Like,
Cucked a lot of people.
I have a solid year of TOing, and then I have about a year and a half of commentary. And the reason I've switched, for obvious reasons, commentary doesn't pay.
Ooh, okay.
Commentary doesn't pay at all. It's not worth doing. It's not worth doing. It's not worth doing at a local level. It's not worth doing at a regional level. It's not worth doing at a major level. The place that it is worth doing it in is PC gaming, MOBAs, shooters,
Gotcha.
and things like that. Like in the real esport worlds, not FGC related.
Established like LAN, yeah.
Reasonable, but especially before I came on the scene and started asking for money and started telling my fellow commentators to ask for money, nobody was asking for money. All these people were trying to make these people work for free. It was really ugly, and like a sponsorship was like, oh, I'll cover your venue fee. Like that's like the kind of level like commentators were getting for sponsorships.
The scraps that they were settling for.
Yeah, I mean, really, realistically, like it was definitely something that nobody was talking about. And to be fair, in Texas, before me and Banjo, there was probably a few Dallas people and some old gen smashers like SBGNS and the like who can commentate also, but don't necessarily call themselves commentators. But excluding top players like that, there was only a small group of us commentators in Texas that could even ask for money.
Okay. You're saying, yeah, I was going to say the skill level was there for the subset that you're talking about right now.
Right. So like initially you get on the mic, you don't know anything about yourself. You commentate for free. You commentate for free until you find your voice. Then you start grinding and getting yourself better. Then you go to bigger tournaments like monthlies and regionals. You get more spots on there. You build a highlight reel. With the highlight reel, you can start advocating for bigger positions in regionals and in majors. And at the local level, you ask for nothing until you're able to get jobs at the highest level. And when you get the jobs at the highest level, you don't work the lowest level for free. Like at a certain point, there's a timeline where you're working for free.
Right.
And then
the opportunity cost of someone at your skill level at a certain point doesn't make it worth to do it for free at a local thing, right?
Right. You put your time in. If you put your time in, then later on, it's about like a mark of a really smart commentator is knowing how to turn down jobs. If you know how to turn down a job, it's it's because you understand your worth. There's let's say in an out of city gig, there is the gas that it takes to get you there,
Hmm.
the amount of hours that it takes to get you there. When you're there, the amount of time that you're spending at the place in commitment to the job. There's the food that you'll eat at that time. There's the gas that pays for the trip back and the time that it takes to get back. And all those things are costs. And some of them are monetary costs, and some of them are time costs,
Yep.
and some of them are like energy costs. But you can put a dollar tag on all those
Yeah,
costs.
100%.
And at a certain
100%.
point, you decide this is what I'm expecting per hour. And if the total amount of money I make is going to cover that, then this job's worth taking. And when you say no to people, you probably won't get that specific job, but those same people, the next time they ask you to work a job, will come with the expectation
They know
that
what's up.
they're going to be having to pay you money. And that's how you start setting that precedent to not let others take advantage of you and to know your worth. So,
Gotcha.
like, that's what I discovered during my time in commentary. I started realizing, and the same person who gave me my first spot at TGL, Imran, is
Mhm.
the same person who helped me understand all that, because he is very much about empowering people to understand their own value when asking for money from other people for services.
Gotcha.
I had a lot of help along the way. I had to figure it all out by myself. I kind of did Socratically, but like he offered a
Right.
lot of the right questions.
That's awesome. No, yeah, that was definitely a major point that I'm glad that you already touched on that about making sure, like your opinions and thoughts on getting paid about esports jobs. Because I had known pretty much. I feel like we've talked about already that was kind of why you were stepping away from commentary as much from when we had talked about it at one point. But I was interested in it. But I'm glad. I mean, you basically just covered it. It's basically a matter of knowing your worth once you get to a certain skill level, and making sure that you're getting like appropriately paid for your skills, right? And then you yourself recognizing, okay, right now it's undervalued slash it's like no value. I'm not getting any money from this, so let me switch my efforts into something to try to fill that.
Yeah. And it also, in the pursuit of learning a new craft and finding a position in an environment that exists already, um, a lot of the things that you're doing is trying to familiarize yourself with the underlying mechanisms that create that position for you.
Hmm.
And then also to kind of keep perspective on it all. And I think the way that you keep perspective on it all is having the right people around you. I was fortunate. I had Banjo. I had a person who could tell me like, "Hey, we're not gonna work anything more for free." And where I may be maybe more charitable to certain individuals that I have a relationship with, or to certain scenes that I
Mm-hmm.
want to do well, sometimes you need that person with you that's like, "Hey man, you're gonna give him more than you should. Like, make sure to like,
Make it
because when we
clear.
were coming up, he was definitely the person that was like, all right, because I would always talk out loud to him, and then eventually he would bring out something, and at one time he was just like, all right, that's it. Like, that was the last job that we worked for free. That we never worked for free again, and then we never did after that. And
Nice.
anytime that it was like, man, I don't think we're gonna get this job. Like, I don't think we're gonna get this position, or I don't think we're gonna do this. He's like, well, then I guess we're not gonna get it. My weekend's
Yeah.
gonna be free again. Like, awesome. I'm like, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like, having
There.
the right people around you also really helps.
Okay. Now there's something Tim Ferriss, an author that I really respect and really like his work. He said something that I guess he might have heard someone. He said basically, when it comes to you offering your services and stuff, it's either free or full price. It's either free because it's like a charity or something that I like, an organization or something I really am empowered and want to support, or it's full price, no in
Yeah,
between, because it's like you devalue yourself if you just do everything and you try to negotiate and work stuff out, you know.
yeah, yeah. I also love Tim Ferriss, so I'm
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought him up.
big fan,
Like,
big fan.
that's right. I mean, realistically, if you start, you have to take a firm position. If you take if you don't take a firm position, then people talk. People, it will get around like, okay, hey, like, with this guy, you can definitely get by with less with him if you just work on it. And it's like at that point, it just makes you're just opening a door that you're not gonna be able to close again.
Gotcha.
So
On that point though, because I really think this is really helpful for people who might be wanting to get into commentary, or at least hearing about your thought process. So you were saying that you would go back to your replays or the replays of the match and try to actually analyze your commentary, right? Which is the number one way to get better at any endeavor, if you can, is to watch your replays, right? So
Yeah.
I'm really interested, just what were the kind of things that you were looking out for to try to improve on, or what was standing out that you were like, okay, this is something like no bueno.
Right. So let's say you're listening to yourself talk,
Hmm.
and let's say have filler words.
Yep,
You'll
disfluencies. Yeah.
recognize the filler words, and then you'll start to slow yourself down. Or sometimes you'll start a thought. uh, In FGC, it's easy to start a thought, something interrupt that conversation. You want to latch onto this thing, pick it up as well. You may never get back to the original thought,
Mm.
or you lose the momentum, and then it's no longer relevant. And so that kind of like sacrificing of what you say to prioritize more valuable pieces of information, because the whole goal with commentary is to offer value
Hmm.
with your words and conversation to what they're already watching. And
To elevate
when
that
you
experience.
yeah, when you realize that you're not offering as much value as you could, because maybe you are getting lost in it, in the conversation or the flow of the match, or maybe you're not committing to um, tackling a specific thing really quickly and concisely, because that's another thing you realize sometimes is, oh, I'm spending way too much time explaining this, and
Yep.
that's why it got away from me. If I can be more concise, then I'll be able to get that and also get the next thing. um, and then also, because it's commentary is a team thing, you notice synergy things like, oh, I'm talking over this person a bunch.
I
um,
vibe well with this type. I don't with this type.
yeah, I'm also not helping them to get to the place that they need. Like, it was for me easy to understand that I'm the guy that passes the ball to Banjo when he slam dunks it. Banjo's always gonna look cool because he slams dunks it, but he's not getting the ball up there without me. And you have to like not you have to be okay not being the star in that instance, if it means, properly delivering are properly working that flow so that it bubbles up and then explodes. And that's like the whole goal with it. So a lot of the times with going back in your VODs, you'll realize, you know, things that you could have done better. And then next time you commentate with somebody who shares similarities with that last person you commentated with, you know how better to work with that dynamic in order to make sure that y'all both look good. So there's a lot of that you can pull out of there.
Hmm.
Pacing, hand things, face things, putting your hands by your mouth, leaning too far off, things like that. There's
Yeah.
like so many things that detract from what you're trying to do, and you know the value you're trying to add. And all you're trying to do is limit as much of that as possible. Be focused, be concise, bring energy, and bring synergy to the table. And if you can do all that stuff, it's just a grind to get there. Yeah.
And a lot of, I guess, self like analyzing, like you said. I mean, that's the whole point. Is like you probably in the moment don't even realize that stuff, because just like when you're performing, you're playing a video game, you might not notice all the different things you do. So when you go back in the VOD, I'm sure there's countless times where you're like, oh my god, I didn't even realize I did XYZ thing.
Like, I can't believe I just said, oh, he got off the ledge and did this, and now he's at this percent up, and now he's off the stage, and then it's repeat that same three sentence, and I'm like, oh god, like,
Yeah,
it
the
will,
cringe.
but I know that it's happened. Um, and it's just another thing is like going back and watching the VODs. I do look at chat for my name
Uh oh.
or
Uh oh.
commentator,
Uh oh.
and the thing about seeing the word commentator or critique of commentary or your name in chat during that VOD is there's two ways that you're supposed to react to it, but you have to come to it with an open mind. You read what they say.
Hmm.
If it's good, you're just like, they're right, they're right. If it's bad, you read the room of the chat room.
Yeah.
Does the chat room care?
Yeah.
If the chat room is like, oh yeah, total, and then they all go down, get on your back, you'll be watching what you're doing, reading what they're saying, and you'll at least be aware of something that might be there. they could also just be fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And then you know that too in the same way. And it validates what they're saying or invalidates what they're saying. And then it makes it easier to swallow. But regardless, if you come to it with an open mind, it'll help you.
Right.
Anytime it criticizes you in chat, there's an opportunity there to find out if you did something wrong. So,
Right. It's kind of like you detach your ego from it, you read it, you see okay, and then from there you try to decide, okay, was this constructive, or do they have something I'm missing? Is there something that I'm not getting from this comment that I should actually be paying attention to, or are they just saying that I'm dumb and I'm a dummy? It's like, okay, you could throw that away.
like, yeah, whatever. And then there's also like reoccurring people that you're like, all right, you just don't like me,
Yeah.
or you don't like my style.
Yeah.
And then you can't help those people. Fuck them.
Okay. Yeah, you keep it moving.
Yeah, you don't worry about them. It's not about. Here's the thing, and this is for all the commentators. Here's the thing: you're not trying to please the people watching. I know it's crazy. They are the people you are supposed to provide value to, right? You're supposed to provide value to the viewers. They are not the person you are trying to please. You are trying to please the person that hired you. If you keep getting rehired, you're doing something right. The people in the chat and the people that are watching, the people you're trying to provide value, they're not paying you to work that job. So if you please them, there's no profit there. You please the people that you're working for by being professional, by bringing the right energy, by knowing what you're talking about, and by cooperating and being, amicable to these people and personable. Like you're not trying to please the people watching. You're trying to please the people paying your bills. And obviously that's not paying your bills, but you understand what I mean.
That's why he stopped. But no, I see what you're saying. It's like you're playing to the crowd as opposed to like you're changing things that you were hired to do, right? If you're trying to keep swaying and moving with the crowd and how they react to you.
Yeah.
You start losing yourself.
Every crowd's gonna be different. Every chat's gonna be filled with different people. They're not always going to be there. But if you can keep getting that same job from that same team that keeps hiring you, that's success. That's real success.
No, that's good. That's really good. No, I'm glad you talked about that because I'm sure there's always tons of people trying to break into commentary and stuff. So I think this is really important information for those types of people, just who may not have thought about it or don't know what goes around it. And it was just so interesting because hearing your story of how you got more involved with it, it was like a mirror of what happened to me. So like I've said this story before when I was talking to Krebs last, but basically how I got into commentary was the same thing. I would go 0-2 every PM tournament, and I was the guy who was like, I mean, I'll get on commentary, I don't mind. And eventually my skill for commentating outgrew or was better than whatever skill I had for playing the game. And then it's interesting too is that I really did end up kind of like getting more involved in my community because like I wanted to know if some people get on stage like, oh yeah, no, I remember like a week or two ago they went like, this is their current record, this is their current standings, and all that intricacies and like, oh, last week this person took them out round 1, and so there's a lot of because that just adds to it. And so I saw myself becoming more of a friend or more of a like kind of ingrained community member through that, and it was through commentary and just being a nice person, like wanting to talk to people and stuff. But it was just interesting hearing you and relating to that a lot. Like it's a lot. Commentary's fun though.
I think if you don't know how to ingratiate yourself in your community, get on commentary, because when you do wrong, people are going to talk to you, and when you do right, people are going to want you to talk to them. Like, because they're gonna be like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. Yeah, I'll talk with him. And when you do wrong, they're like, nah.
Hey, listen, buddy, you don't know shit about this. Yeah.
Yeah, but the point is, like, if you don't know any other way to like get into your community, I promise you, commentary is definitely a way. Like I said, people didn't talk to me before I got on commentary. I had a small group of friends. When I started commentating, I started being able to go to people afterwards and be like, oh yeah, totally, commentate yourself. I saw when you did this part. I like this part, blah, 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 blah. And it's like a good seed from which to grow, further connection.
Start conversations, yeah.
Yeah. And then also, it was like, you're involved with so many things, and then publicity and clips and people start
Name
recognizing, and that
recognition.
kind
Oh.
of the more attention you pay to the craft, the more it pays out in public relation dividends, if you understand what I mean.
Which I think is fucking gold. And if you ask
Yeah.
the real Marzbar, I think it's gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's interesting, but it's kind of interesting when we take all this that we're talking well and nice about commentary to still hear and talk about how, current day JoWii is moved more into TOing, right? So how has that transition been? We talked a little bit of the why, the motivation, because you realize, okay, commentary is kind of undervalued. I'm not really getting my money's worth for my time and effort. So can you kind of talk a little bit of when that transition happened and when it started ramping up to, 5 fucking weeklies in a 7-day period or whatever,
Yeah. So let's see. I was probably still commentating, at least monthly, if not more than once a month, by the time I started TOing. TGL, same people that gave me my first start as, in commentary, same people that gave me the advice, to grow as a person selling my craft, are the same people that set up a arcade in Austin and then needed a TO. And Imran reached out to me and was like, hey, do you know anybody? And I had run maybe 1 to 3 brackets, like, 8-man brackets, 10-man brackets, but like for both Smash United at Super Smash Club 5, and then also a couple little small house tournaments. And so I knew I could TO. Like
Yeah.
I knew that was something I could do. And I was like, yeah, why don't you just let me take it on? Because at that time I was already thinking about how not worth it was to
Right.
commentate. I was already in that thinking. So I was like, yeah, let me comment, let me work this event for you. And so that was my Wednesday TGLA event. It used to be at the Spider House Ballroom, which was an amazing venue. It was anybody that it comes from Austin knows, if they were around during that time, that was probably free and clear the best venue we had. I hate to say it too, because the owners of that venue sus. I mean, I'm not gonna
Okay.
say more than that. But, like,
Okay.
they obviously didn't know value that they had when they wanted us to leave. Like, you gotta understand, like, that venue was so crucial. It was so good. It had a stage that fit the Tekken stream and the Smash stream right in the middle, with an area to sit in. We had tabletops and a whole like square seating area in front of the stage, and then on the sides of it, all the setups. And in the corner over here, there was a group of setups, and against the wall over here, there was a setup. And in the far back, there was a DJ studio that like are a soundboard, like all the equipment up there,
Gotcha.
and that all relayed to all the speakers everywhere, lights, all that's actionable from right there leads to the bar behind us. There's a bar outside. There's a bar in the other part of the building. There's like 3 food trucks. It was literally the perfect venue, and they just there was also it regardless. That one was a pretty good venue. I think I want to say. Walt's saying the bathroom was gross, and he's not wrong. There were that was probably the one like thing that I think, but otherwise it was, and then also all the chairs, all the tables, all that was all the extension cords were all there. As far as setup, it was really good.
Okay.
I started working that event weekly, and then Smash Pack, which was our local legacy tournament from Smash 4.
Gotcha.
They lost their venue, had to move inside a house all the way down south, which was way too far for North drivers usually. So their attendance started dwindling, and then Smash United had some people pick up Cityscape,
Mm.
and Cityscape was the new Monday tournament at Fourth Tap, and I was like, well, I'm already TOing TGLA. I'll
Yep.
go ahead and TO this one. And so I did. I did the first 10 for free and was like, let's do this. Let's make it big. Let's have fun.
Got it.
And I want to say before Cityscape at TGLA, the biggest issues I had was space. And that was probably it. I think I had a sound speaker there, so I had a mic I could use, so I didn't have to worry about communicating to my players. I had, the stream up front, so like everything was very obvious. In terms of communicating the start of a tournament and then telling people where to go, there was a little bit of like craziness there, but once the tournament got started, it ran really smoothly.
Okay.
Cityscape on Monday was a bit harder because it was a bar. The outside area was incredibly hot. They had those giant table benches that you see out in parks that are wood with
Gotcha.
the
Yeah.
benches that don't separate, they're
Yeah, it's
connected.
just a
And
fucking.
so and you can't be that close to the table and see the screen and play comfortably, so you have to set up. So there's a lot of setup involved. Stream had to be set up. We couldn't get on the Wi-Fi by ourselves. We had to share with everyone else. That was terrible for us. There was a lot of issues early on. There was no mic, so I had to just yell the whole time. And it's fine. I can do it. It definitely drained me a little bit. And then it was pretty big, and you could be in a separate area of the bar where our setups also are, but there would be a door between us, and maybe you can't hear, especially if the music's is on, and it's usually on. And then on top of that, we're not separated from anybody there at the bar. Anybody can just sit intermingled with us almost. We had some reserved tables, but
it can only go so far.
Right. And I think I earned a lot of my TOing stripes at that tournament because there was a lot of managing that had to go on in order to get that one going. And around the 10th tournament, I just was like, you know what? I need to start getting paid. I gave you the first 10 for free. I unfortunately made that call on the Monday of spring break and was like, listen, like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he was like, why don't you work today? I was like, I will work today. Pay me this much.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, go home. I was like, all right. And then, like, I want to say 10 tournaments later, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 15 tournaments later, they called me back and offered me money, and I was like, all right, I'll start working this one too.
Nice.
So I picked up the Wednesday one, picked up the Tuesday one. The Friday one was no more. There was a Thursday one that was happening that was kind of south, so not a lot of north people went to that one.
Okay.
And it was also run by somebody who is kind of divisive in the community and is a very strong personality that can be disliked easily if you're not, prepared for that kind of energy.
Okay.
But he wasn't any way affiliated with me. And then I want to say at some point they started a competing weekly on Thursdays at Bell's Gaming Center in Round Rock, and that one was with Van. And by the time that one was starting, it was under just, I want to say, Aaron Van Jones and Crump and Fredo are the people that I remember working that tournament. And I wasn't yet affiliated with them, but eventually me and Van Jones brought together to become ATX Gaming Hub.
Okay.
And that one went under the ATX umbrella. And then the Thursday weekly that was happening down south, I don't know the details of it, so I won't speak on it. But whatever the relationship deteriorated to where the venue no longer wanted to host the tournament.
Okay.
They went to a bar to host the tournament, and they only got like one shot there, and it didn't really work out. So then that tournament was gone, and then it was just our 3 Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday tournament. And then somebody that wasn't associated with the Smash scene started hosting a tournament at Bombshells. It was casual, like free for all with like time. It was paying like $200 for first place.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Just first place, 100. And I was like, and they're posting on the page, and I'm like, stop. What I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're throwing money away. Like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
So I go there to have a conversation with the
what
owner.
the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I'm like, you're throwing away $200 every week. That's not sustainable. I know how much money this makes. You're not even charging anything. It's a free tournament. I know you're not making any money. You're just throwing away $200. So I really was just gonna go protect him. Like, hey, I don't know if you don't know, but Smash doesn't pay money.
Nah, bro, they knew what they were doing. They're trying to get sweaty nerds into that restaurant. They knew exactly what they were doing. There was a $200 advertising fee to get these nerds in there. They know what they were doing.
And that's exactly what it was. He's like, look, I'm just trying to talk numbers. And I'm like, listen, how about you give me that $200? I'll just bring one of my tournaments here, and then I'll bring the same number of people, and then
the same nerds.
These guys, Bombshells, are owned by a parent company, and that parent company is one of the few adult entertainment gentlemen clubs people that's on the stock market. Like, I think uh Cabaret or something like that. I want to say is what the parent company is. If I can remember correctly, I don't even remember. But he was like, "Look, that $200." He's like, "If we can bring y'all in here, let's try and increase that amount. Let's try and grow the scene. Let's try and get bigger." I'm all ears for that. So we started running our tournaments there on Tuesday. We like cleaned up the rule set. We cleaned up the way that it was run, the schedule, and like mimicked hours. And
Yeah, I got him in line.
right, we were getting a steady 30 at that one, and we had greater plans, like bigger events, and they definitely had the space for it. And they were also franchised, so that means they have a place in Houston, they have a place in Dallas.
Yeah, I know. There's one up the street from me.
Yeah, and like we would have, and hopefully there's still time to do it. I haven't reached out to them because of all this craziness, but
Yeah.
The goal would be to show them like, hey, we can constantly bring in 30. And if you let us, we'll constantly bring in 30 in Houston, and we'll constantly bring in 30 in Dallas, and we'll
Just grow
make,
the thing into all the different franchises.
and then I can show y'all how to do this yourselves, and you won't need us, but you probably want somebody like this, and because Smash is a, I don't want to say clout driven. It's a you have to be known within the community.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I told him all that, and so at that point we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a LAN center opened up, in mid Austin, Anderson Lane near 183, and we went. I saw a post on maybe Facebook or Twitter talking about it, and then I just drove by the place, and it was under construction. The door was open, so I went in.
What the fuck?
They're all in there, and like the people that run the place, and I was like, "Hey guys, like, I'm
Is this shit that happens in Austin? Motherfuckers just walk in. Hey.
Well, the funny thing is, literally 30 minutes before I walk in there, I get an email from one of the guys that works there, and he's like, "Hey, can we talk?" And I was like, I looked at them, looked up the address, and I'm like, "I'm right around the corner. I'm just gonna go walk in there." So I did that, and I mean, we got the Friday weekly started, and so then we had 5 weeklies at that point. And then on top of that, once a month, we started an event called EXP Share,
Okay.
which is where we try and take our worst players, pair them up with our best players in groups, make them have
Like training sessions or
focus on them as individual players for half an hour to an hour, and then as a group compete against the other groups that are there under different teachers,
yeah.
and just really let them have coaching the whole time and a lot of feedback, and
Which is an amazing event. Like that premise is absolutely amazing because you're trying to grow the scene from the bottom up and telling these top players like, hey, get more involved. Here's a great way to get more involved and just raise the skill, right?
Yeah. Well, the way that you get those top players involved is you pay them.
Sure.
So
yeah.
we charged money, and then we paid them every person that they had to train, and then at a certain point we capped the number of people that they had to be on stream. It gave you let's say you had 5 people that you would play on stream, both y'all would have VODs to review later, and then at a certain point the list would get cut off and you wouldn't have to go VOD with those people, you could just play them later on. And like, so teams were like anywhere from 4 to 8 people, but only a handful of those probably got on stream because they signed up early. And then that teacher got paid for per head that they were underneath them, and so everyone profited. Us as organizers got to make a little bit of money. The venue made a little bit of money. The teachers made a little bit of money, and all the people that came there for learning got to play for hours with other people and get coached by a specific person who's PR'd or very close to PR, if not like PR. And then they also got to have a bracket afterwards, or a crew battle, something to test their skills, and in a place where you could order beer, food, it's really convenient parking. All that was there, and we started doing that one once a Sunday. And the way we would plan it is whatever that month's regional was, that Saturday we'd go to the Sunday before that, and that's when we would plan for that event.
Yep.
I
gotcha.
Go to that event, have the whole week to grind out everything you learn, and then hit that regional at the end of the week.
That's badass. That's super badass. And all this, so I want to say, all of that you just said with all these tournaments and everything, that was 2019, right? Like that was
mostly it was. Let's see. I would say TGL. I did maybe 20 to 30 TGLs, so maybe 3 or 4 months. I want to say I had one weekly all the way up until halfway through 2019, and then the latter half of 2019 I had 2 weeklies, and then 2020 I had all that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. It's a lot. And like right now, I have a venue who is practicing all precautions that are mandated by everybody, social distancing. They have plenty of room so where we could have, a tournament with half the people in one area of the venue, half people playing out their matches, swap the waves, and then play out the top whatever. Like we would be able to do it all. And I have a venue that has given me the okay, and it's all great. But I think about how many months I was doing so many events, and right now I'm not doing any events. And I gotta say, I kind of like my free time right now. Yeah, to the point where I have the option, and I'm gonna wait on it.
Yeah, no point in rushing it too.
It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there, And once I get started, I'm not gonna stop for the next 3 years. Like we're not that. My goal when I started commentating was 5 years in. If I can't make money in the esport world, I'm out of it entirely. And I'm 2 years in, and I'm going to extend it by half a year because of all the craziness. But once I start, I'm going for the next 3 years, and then I'm out, unless I'm making money that pays the bills, like all of them.
Like full-time income.
I don't work anymore. Like, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes. But I'm only waiting for that. I'm prolonging when I start tournaments because I'm trying to enjoy the break, because I'm not the kind of person that takes breaks or will take time off or cause things for everyone else. Or, hey, I need some time. So there's no weekly this week.
It's nose to the grindstone if you start.
Exactly. I'm just back to work. And so, if I don't start tournaments, a month or two after I'm given the go ahead, it's because once I start, I'm not stopping for years, like 3 years. It's like, I'll wait. I'm going to have fun, play Valorant, play video games, do a bunch of research in the stock market.
I was gonna say. So right now, what's your guilty pleasure? What's your crux right now? Like what's
the stock market?
Oh, so go ahead.
Yeah, the stock market's got me pretty bad right now. Not in a bad way, but I start my day by waking up.
Robinhood.
Checking. Yep, I started off on Robinhood.
Okay.
Robinhood is a very beginner-friendly app, and I recommend it to anybody at all interested in the stock market. But I also have something called Thinkorswim. It's by TD Ameritrade. It's got a lot more information, a lot more functionality, a lot more. It's way heavier. So I use that also. I have Robinhood for just basic stocks because it's really easy like that. But then you have stock options and
you're fucking doing options and shit?
Yeah. And then once you dabble in that, you want a lot more available to you. So then it gets kind of crazier. But man, it's fun. It's exciting. It's profitable if you have good strategies, and it's also not for the faint of heart, which I'm not, and I enjoy the way that it and my emotions and the stress factor.
Jesus. So you're not doing a lot of mutual funds is what you're telling me.
No. So okay, I'll go ahead and just be frank. I put in, let's say, $500 to start off, right?
Sure.
I was like, all right, $500, let me see what happens here. Lost it. Later, it's all gone. I was like, all right, I paid for that lesson. All right, put another $250 in there. Let me play a little more conservative with this. Lose $50 right off the bat, and I was just like, okay. So very obviously, with absolutely no education or research into this, I'm not gonna just be able to throw money in there and make money, and I'm not even gonna be able to learn lessons in there for free. It just doesn't work like that. Okay, fine. So put in a little bit more money. Eventually, I want to say total I have invested in there is like $1,500. $500 out on immediately, right? And then there's some wiggle room of like daily losses and gains. But like if I look at my graph and it starts like with my initial amount, and then it drops from the 500
Yep.
and then the immediate drop from the next like 250 or whatever it was, and then small little like dip down, and now it's just steadily going up. And it's because I got smarter. I paid for all the lessons I learned.
Yeah.
I now could talk to you about, the way that you should enter to stock markets. The way I did it was from the wrong door. I came through the back door and was like, options? Hell yeah, brother! Like, obviously going through the back door is the wrong idea. I went through the front door when I came back.
You're like, oh, whoops.
Oh, there's just stocks in here laying around. Let me just grab a couple of these. These will just make me money. Like, cool, okay. And if you're curious, I do mostly tech stocks.
Okay.
So and social media stocks. I like pharmacy right now because I'm still reading a lot about it because of the recent pandemic. So I'm still focusing a lot on like the different companies that are coming out with vaccinations and following the phase they're in. I also play with some ETFs, which are if you take all the underlying companies that are all have their own individual stocks, but they're in the same group, like tech or oil or whatever. ETFs will let you trade on how you think all of them as a group will perform, and those cost typically less than a brand name stock because they're not real brand name stocks. They're just collections. So basically, I started figuring out how to properly invest money to grow money slowly and against the profits that I make with that, be able to make better decisions with spreads, and which I'm still learning about. I just started cracking the spreads. Spreads is what I hear is a true like cheat code.
Okay.
And then eventually I'm going to find my way back to options because options still is one of the better ways that you can be making money.
Buku money.
Exponentially, like depending on if you can read it right. Point being, it's so entertaining and foreign, and it's the reward from it is tangible reward. It's
right,
money.
Actual money. Okay, I got you. You get to learn something new, make some money maybe along the way. Hopefully along the way. Yeah. Do you? I don't know if you know. Do you know the subreddit Wall Street Bets?
I don't.
Check it out. You'll love it. It's literally people fucking around with options, and you'll just see the saddest screenshots you'll ever see in your goddamn life. I highly recommend you check it out. I mean, it's called Wall Street Bets. Like it's your heart will sink. It's great.
Yeah, I like out the gate, I did 3 options, and one of them, I was right, but I didn't stick with it long enough. I got out early. It went even further in the money, and then I was like, but it was, like I said, all those were lessons that I learned in order to do what I'm now doing better. And I do feel like if it's one thing to do, like I'm not a person that goes and reads and then is like, I'm gonna apply my learning. I like to get in there, try it out,
get your hands dirty.
Yeah. And I'll figure it out on my own. I also have somebody who you should all go follow. His name's Joe Pan on Twitter. I think his name is Joe Guerrera with some numbers afterwards. But Joe Pan, JoPan. He's a San Antonio Smash player. That dude has put me on to so much stock like information in terms of just good conversation, the jargon, his strategies, and things like that. And he's just been really great for me, like to like be able to bounce questions off of, or if I have an idea, I'll be like, hey, I'm thinking this, like, what is that called? Or, is that something I should even be considering? And let me see, what's his name?
I got it. I'm putting in the chat.
Dope. Like, and so he was really good for a lot of that. And he also has a Discord that I'm in now with a couple other people, and so like daily he's talking about what he's doing, and he's working on a greater money scale than I am, but a lot of the information he's passing around is still useful to people.
Gotcha. That's fascinating. So you've been getting deep in the stocks.
Dude, I can already envision it. Like the day that I will find myself successful is when all the things I'm doing returns my chart back to that original position. And once I hit that original position, boy, I'm gonna celebrate.
Yo.
That's the goal is, okay, I lost all that money.
Yo.
I just want to make my money back now. If I make my money back,
right,
I will call it success.
It means that you've made enough good decisions to get that return on investment back to your original starting point. So you eventually worked your way to that point.
Yeah, that's the goal. So we'll see.
Meanwhile,
Maybe
meanwhile,
later if
yeah.
I'm like homeless or something like Mars. Let me live on your couch,
Hey
please,
man.
please.
Hey, if things go bad, you're gonna be looking at people who got houses like me, bro. I got a $400 room right over there, bro.
Hey, there we go. Come straight to me. All right, on my way.
Oh
By the
God.
way, I only have these 3 stocks. I'll trade them to you for a month of rent. No.
Yikes. Bruh.
No, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's an adrenaline rush in some cases, and it feels like eventually I can get to a place where my money will make money faster than my losses will be incurred. Yeah,
That's
that's how
fun.
it works.
That's exciting.
It is how it works.
It's exciting. Meanwhile, all I've been doing is playing World of Warcraft.
No, nothing wrong with that.
Hey, I can't complain. All right, I got the heroic raids. Anyway, that's amazing. No, it's just fun and interesting. I mean, it's interesting to hear from you because it's like you're saying how if you go back into the TOing stuff, like all your free time aside from because you have a job, like you work, so like all your
Yeah.
time besides from that, all that free time is going into straight grinding out the tournaments and stuff. And so that's really interesting. And I want to bring up a question that we had earlier from Krebs. The whole question of like, ideally, where do you want to see yourself in like a like let's say like a 5-year mark and a 10-year mark? Like, what is it that you want to you like what you envision as like this is peak optimal. This is what I wanted to do, and this is how I see it and want it to be. Let's do 5 and then 10.
So let's see. I think anybody that knows me can probably attest to this, but when people ask me or when I've had to talk to people about changing their lives, for whatever reason, uh, one of the first things I tell them is, why don't you take some time and really find out what you want to do with your life? And when I tell them that, and I feel like I don't want to leave them just to like muse on their whole life and like their future. I really want them to like have like a concentrated effort. What I tell them to do is, okay, imagine yourself in 5 years and wake up. Where do you wake up? What is your morning routine? What are you spending your time on? What things are you doing? Go through your whole day of, if I could be anywhere I wanted to be in 5 years, and then go there mentally and write all that down. And for me, I do that every time I feel like I need to reinvent myself or remind myself what is important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that. I probably do that once a year for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But probably like it's definitely more than once a year. And when I do that, I've done it a couple times, and it's kept me along the path that I've wanted to be on. Right now, I wake up in a place that I'm working on paying off. Right, working on a 30-year fixed
Nice.
mortgage duplex.
Feel that?
Uh,
Oh, sexy, super sexy. Duplex, I'm hard.
duplex where me and my brother live in one half.
Oh, I
We
love
rent
it.
out the other half. We spend more than the minimum monthly in order to pay it off early,
Hmm.
and that's the house I live in. I have a small dog. That's something recent. I'm like, ooh, a small dog would be nice.
Oh,
Um, I wake up, I get my coffee. I wake up probably around 5, 6 o'clock. I do my morning yoga, do some meditation, do a little bit of journaling, make sure that I know what I want to accomplish that day. Probably check my stocks right before the open, plan my strategy for that day. Make sure that all my eggs are nicely placed in the right places in order
mm-hmm.
to profit. And then, by 10 o'clock, I see where the stock market's going to go. I probably don't have to spend any more time there. I probably check out of that, put it to the side until 4 o'clock. And then at that point, it's probably midday. What I would like to be doing is tending to some plants. I do have, goals to make sure that I'm able to sustain some crops
There you go.
for coming future where that may be an important skill. Um, I also, just
Hold up. Hold up.
and then I probably would go online, manage the social medias. At this point, I don't want to like speak too more specifically, because some of the things that I would probably fill my day with are
Contingent
right
on,
now
yeah.
not cemented in place.
Mm.
Like, because in the current lane that I'm in, it's very nocturnal. So my days would probably be my rest periods,
Mm.
and my evenings would be my work periods. So once I was done with the stock market for a couple hours there, I probably don't have anything to do. And um, so likely because right now, and so then later on, fitness would be something for me. So I might work out, I might go hiking, might get the dog out and go somewhere, like that. I may go spend time with people that I like. I have family all my family lives in Austin, friends live in Austin, all that kind of stuff. Relationships are really important to me. So I would, make sure that I'm spending time on those. Anime is important to me. I like watching good anime. So I would probably spend some time there. Um, Chess is also important, so I would probably be spending some time playing chess. And then somewhere around 4, when the stock market's closed, go look and check my positions, make sure everything's good. Potentially before the stock market closes at 3:30, I would probably be checking that just to make sure that I'm not caught with anything. And then after that, I would probably be making my way to a venue, getting things set up. I usually go directly from work to venues because I want to go there and make sure everything's set up the
Right.
way I like it, make sure that everything meets my standards. Because space matters, the flow of traffic matters, the ambiance matters, everything matters to me. The position of the TVs, like position of the chairs to the TVs, literally everything matters to me.
Gotcha.
So and then until midnight, that's usually how long events tend to go, is till midnight, and that's my weekdays. And then my weekends, all family time, just entirely family time.
Mm.
And then there's a lot of quarterly trips. There's a lot of monthly trips, road trips, things like that. I like traveling. I like traveling with my family and friends. So that's definitely a thing. And then throughout that day, all my meals are home cooked. I like to cook, so I definitely by that time want to be home cooking all my meals and things like that. So those are all things that small habits are being built now that I expect to become big habits later on and to
Gotcha.
really fun the foundation of my lifestyle when I'm older. And that's kind of how it works. I tell people, it's like, imagine that whole day, write everything down that you did. Now, let's say that I'm not. Let's say one of my plans was to make a table. I don't know, but to
Yeah.
make furniture.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have no furniture making skills right now. So knowing that that's what I want to do in 5 years, I would start figuring out the steps that it takes to get to that point. Okay, I need to have tools. I need to start chopping wood. I need I need to start manufacturing
Right.
things. Start building habits now, and all along the way until I get there, that 5 year mark, it's going to be growing that skill set. So and that's all you do. Once you find out what that day looks like in 5 years, you whittle it down to 10 things that you want to focus on, and then you start forming your daily habits now around those and start laying the bricks to make sure that by the time that 5 year mark comes, everything's laid out and it all is functioning and it's all integrated into your normal daily plan. And that's
Gotcha.
all, habitual.
Dang. Dang. No, it's a very methodical way of looking at it and just saying like, okay, if this is your ideal life that you're looking for however long down the line, what's the delta between you now and you then? And what's the smallest steps that you can start taking that are
Yes.
actionable that you can look in like, however like 6 months to a year's time saying, okay, did I act on this? Is this on track? Am I on the way to get to that? And then readjusting course, like you said you do this exercise at least more than once a year, you said. So making sure that you're still on track, or maybe you realize along the way that other things are more important than what you were at. So I'm sure for you, some things are contingent on if you find like a new hobby or if something else comes up that you enjoy. I mean, like the stock market was something I think you said you recently got into that now you're saying now I want to see further down the line. So who knows what'll be the next thing.
Right. And then also because this 5 year exercise would be exceeding the 3.5 year mark I have left in the
Right.
esports world, there's one of two things that happens. Um, During that time of the 3.5 years, I am going to be moving away from weeklies towards majors.
Hmm.
So all the steps between now and that 3.5 year mark is working towards a major and a reoccurring major. So, and then also So like in my mind, I have all these events. I have these weeklies. I have these singular Saturday events. I have these monthly events. I have a regional under my belt. I have contributions to majors, things like that. All that's a portfolio to say I can do this. Bank on me being able to do this. I slowly start finding people to take over my weeklies, people that I've trained, and I've trained a couple people that I could find myself leaving this to.
Right.
But it also affirms to me I could leave somebody that I create because I know how to, give people the right tools.
Right.
So I built somebody up
The
before.
process is there. That's repeatable. That you can say, look, this person can handle this because I not only did it, I taught them, and it's a working process.
Yeah. So the goal would be to phase myself out of helping out of the weeklies so that I can go into a manager role where I can make sure that quality controls kept, content creation is up, and as a brand, it all makes sense. And then it would be to move from the locals for myself and make that a manager position, and then to also integrate conventions and larger scale non-smash focused events
Mm.
like anime matsuri,
Yeah.
things like that,
Yeah.
things that aren't necessarily smash but could have the environment suitable for
Right.
a
Have a
smash
large enough
tournament.
audience that could be like, oh,
Right. And then it would be to move myself away from 52 weeks worth of weeklies into 12 events, one per month, if not more, and then with a major every quarter, half year, or 1 year. Like, and then that would mean that like still making, still profiting from weeklies, have my community in mind, making sure everything's fine there,
Mm-hmm.
but also growing it up to where it's like, okay, now the bigger money's here.
More
Let's make this work.
responsibility. Yep.
And the money from this will now go into the major, and that's all like a smooth thing. And either the major works the second time around, because the first time around we have our sights set low. We know what we would consider success. We have all the details and plans, like, and ideas, and there's a lot of like preparation that's already been done,
Mm-hmm.
and we know what we can accomplish, but we like to undersell ourselves a lot and plan around that
Yeah.
because we don't like being short, and we like making sure everyone gets paid. Um, and then the second major, we would have higher aspirations, and if we nail that, then we would simply continue down this path of larger scale events, and that should all be able to sustain two of us to be able to optionally choose not to work a second job.
Gotcha.
And then so the goal would be then to, uh, you know, the goal in that 3.5 years is to get to enough events, making enough money that I can quit my job and focus solely on manufacturing
And
events.
growing it more.
And that would be considered success. So in that 5-year mark, either I am working on the next regional / major, on my day-to-day basis, getting the right connections, finding sponsorships, and all the
Deals.
things organized for that, or I'm done with all this esports stuff because my path didn't go as far as I wanted to. I'm happy with everything I did, and then I probably move on to real estate. I like real estate. Already got my halfway through license courses. It's like, okay,
really?
This is
nice.
This isn't. Yeah, it's not a hard thing. It's a lot of filling in blanks and knowing law, and like not even knowing all law but like being a part of the group that gives you the right information, making sure they're up to date on everything. It's not hard. It's something that somebody like me who can talk well would be great at, and it's
very conducive to people who would just grind it out, because the sale in real estate, if you're talking about like selling real estate, it's literally as many sales as you could do is how much you get paid. So there's no ceiling on how much you can make any given year. It's just as much as you want to work at it. And from what we've heard already, if you say, okay, this is my next 3 to 5 year plan is real estate, like seeing how that'll plan out. Of course, out. Yeah.
So, and real estate's one of those things. It's like, I don't want to say it's an old man job, but it's not. It's something that for me feels like a lot like a stable fallback plan that is likely to be. I'm likely to be successful.
It's your plan C. It's your plan C or B.
Also, Nito, definitely come to my majors, please. I will hit you up. You can house with me. Come a week before. I'll take you out to ramen, take you out to sushi, show you all the right spots in Austin because we got too many of them.
Yep.
It'll be great. Yeah.
I got some okay spots. Yeah.
I have plans, and like, it all kind of adjusts slowly and steadily. But I think I think something that everyone should probably consider is making an expiration date for things that they are investing their time
Don't
into.
tell me that, Joey. No, I want to keep going, Joey.
I,
No,
I,
come on, man. I don't want to stop,
I
man. No,
know,
man.
look, even with streaming, like I
No,
look at
man. Come on,
myself.
bro.
I told myself, I was like, all right, I'm probably only gonna stream until events come back.
Hmm.
And then I was like, here's my first bar that I'm gonna set for myself. And then I got to it. It was like 5 subs. I was like, okay, cool.
Nice.
Here's my second bar, and I put myself at 25 subs, and I got to that, and I was like, okay. And I asked myself, like, I'm finding some success here. Am I passionate about this? Could I put my time into it? Could I see myself getting to a certain point? How is this contributing to my future? And I do a lot of questions like that.
Yeah.
And I took the week off from streaming to kind of think about all this.
Right.
I'm still thinking about it. But some thoughts that come to mind is I don't know how I would set an expiration point, right? Like right now I'm putting 10 to 12 hours in a stream that is only available because I'm not running events.
Mm-hmm.
Once I run events, I am probably only coming back with 3 events, Monday through Wednesday. So then I probably have to move my stream schedule to the right to be Thursday through whatever. And then it has to be a certain number of hours. And then I have to ask myself, like, what would I consider successful? And then it'd be like, do I want to commit myself to going to that through those links? This has been fun dabbling in a stream.
Right.
I like it. I could see myself having a lot of fun with it, but it's I don't like betting on things where it's largely out of my control. The most I can offer right now is consistency, and that's really it. I can consistently be there when I say I'm going to be there.
Right.
That's the most I can do, and there's I could maybe try and raise the quality of the stream. So there's like, something I put on my to-do list. I could try expanding the content and going towards like marketing and making sure that I'm really trying to push myself out there. There's more I could build up, but I think about the reward for the amount of time and then how long I plan to stay in this space,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really up in the air. I don't know
For the
how
time
long.
investment, you mean? Because it's like once you start running events, potentially you're saying a lot of this free time that you would be able to spend to streaming would kind of evaporate out. And so you're saying, okay, if I do allocate this amount of time towards streaming, pros and cons, would it be worth it? Da, 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 da.
Yeah, and I think I don't know.
It could always
how I
just
feel
stay as
about
like a hobby. It's not something you could always, it could be something you could do to like relax and have fun too. It's not something you have to like, I have to make a giant empire.
I don't do hobbies, man. I don't do that.
Oh, we found the problem, chat. Maybe not a problem. Maybe it's not a problem. I don't know. Do you see yourself as type A? Are you type A?
What's type A?
Like type A, type B? Like it's like the the personality thing where it's like, oh, I'm a fucking like you're like
go getter, and then like
yeah.
type B is like whatever happens.
Fuck it, yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that for me, I want to be.
You don't half-ass shit.
Yeah, I don't half-ass shit, and I also like to know how I'm getting in and getting out. If I don't know how I'm getting out, I probably don't commit. And that's on anything probably. If I can't figure out, I can't visualize the exit plan, then I don't do it. Because and that's like, let's say a party even. If I don't know if I go to a party, let's say, I know how it's going to play out. I know who's going to be there. I know what we're going to do. If I don't know, okay, I'm going to go do this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. And then at this point, I'll probably leave. And if I don't have that exit plan, like in anything, but like, that's an example. If I don't know the exit plan, I'm not even going to commit in the first place. Because it's just like maybe it's a control thing. I want to have like as much control over it to make sure I'm not like wasting my time or committing something where I'm not going to enjoy myself. But in my mind, I think of it as maybe a form of self-care, like like okay.
Talk to me, Joey.
Care would be, and the way I see it is when you're about to commit to something, it's so easy to get in and
Yeah.
know what you want out of it. But if you never have an exit plan, you may end up staying longer than you should. I think where I discovered this was in relationships. Some relationships, you probably should leave earlier than you would leave if you let your heart decide. Because the way that you feel can affect your judgment and cause you to stay somewhere that you shouldn't longer than you should. But if you go into these situations with a game plan and knowing, where the limit is and what you want out of it and holding true to those values, then you'll recognize when the returns are no longer, like when you're not getting out what you want out of it, or when it's harmful to what you want out of it. And then you'll know, okay, that's the cue, gotta exit. It's not a emotional decision, it's one of self-preservation. I knew before I started this what the thing that would make me leave. And now that I'm here at this thing that I recognize because I set that marker long ago, I don't need to think about this. I know that this was what I wanted, and then you can leave. So I recognize it in relationships, but I use that almost everywhere. If I don't know how it ends, I'm probably not committing. And I don't know. It's just
It's like you take your commitment seriously, because you wanna, and it's like if you have things that you commit to that, like you say, like it gets past the point of like I should have stopped, it starts deteriorating other things around you. Because let's say, like in the case of a relationship, like if a relationship starts going south and you don't have it within yourself, or you and your partner don't have it within yourself to kind of exit out and like say, hey, look, we have to talk, like we got to kind of see whatever, then that could greatly affect your life and everything around it. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things that no one teaches you. No one tells you, like, hey, you should try and make this decision before you get emotional and before you get emotionally invested.
Yeah.
Make a decision now, and that way when you hit the parameter, it'll just trigger instead of you having to search to be like, at what point did this become not okay? And if you have to go search that, you're probably too late. Like if you have to go and
you're taking emotions out of it.
Yeah. So it's something that, like jobs. If the job I'm working at is probably something that I could be getting paid more at a different job. I've definitely got offers for jobs that were paying more, but the current job allows me freedom to do my other endeavors to such an extent that
it's worth it.
I'm willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And once that scale gets tipped in the wrong way, I already know that that's my exit plan. So I'm only going to stay at this job until the threshold's met, and then I'll know exit time. It's one you can use it in pretty much anything, but like that's definitely the approach.
That's amazing. That's very insightful. I've never heard it explained that way, or never really thought of something in that way, but it really does make sense, especially when you put it in the context of a relationship like that. Because like I can definitely look back at a relationship and think the same exact thing, where it's like we hit a point where it was like, okay, this is a major crossing roads, like things aren't working or matching up, but we still try to go through, and then all that came with doing that. So yeah.
Especially in relationships, I feel like, I think one of the things.
Whoa, chill. I have a relationship podcast. Chill. This isn't the relationship podcast. Wait, hold up.
It's definitely something you should think about. Invite me to that one, though. I have way more to offer in that one.
Oh, that one we're doing fucking lit. All right. Okay. Now, hold that thought.
Yeah, all right. We can
Yeah.
get into it because I've been look at. There was a point in my life, like I think I was 26. I might have been 25 or 26. I hit that point, and from when I was 16 until that point, I was in and out of relationships with almost no downtime.
Jeez.
Like straight decade, and like I think my longest relationships hadn't hit the year mark in any of that 10 years. Like, well, okay.
Do you have a lot of great
No,
stories? What you're telling me?
yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot there, but like the point being, I went through a lot of relationships, a lot of experimenting, a lot of like understanding myself, and like, man, there's a lot I could talk to you about that. So
Oh,
we
we get him on. You hear that, chat? Okay. Hold on to that then. That's
yeah,
that's very important. Oh,
that's some fire for later.
yeah, that's interesting though. So you see yourself as like a committed person, like you are a committed individual. Would you describe
Yeah.
yourself as that?
Mm, no, I think I'm a disciplined person,
Oh, okay, okay.
right? Because commitment, I personally will never commit. I will always wait until the last possible second before I'm forced to make a commitment because I want to know
All the
all
information.
perspectives. I
Yeah.
need to know every side. I need to make sure that I am well versed and
Gotcha.
I understand fully so I can't. I don't think I make commitments lightly. I think, but I have a lot of discipline in terms of um,
Saying no to things.
and building plans and things like that and sticking to them. Like I will stick to an idea once I have formed it if I think that I need to show dedication to it. Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating. Fascinating. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay. I was gonna say so okay, no, we talked about this earlier, but you said you're an IPA person. So like what happened in your life to make you decide to want to drink grass water?
Like
No, I'm
I
kidding.
blame
I'll drink whatever. I hate beer snobs that are like, oh, you drink this, you're I like if you give it to me, I'll drink it. I won't care. I have preferences, but I'm not gonna say no to a beer that's in the fucking cooler or whatever, you know?
yeah. So I'll drink. Hey, I've gone over to a Smash Fest within the month where somebody only had Bud Light. I cracked open a couple of
You
them.
made it work. Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
I'm not a snob. I will blame my last girlfriend, Marin. She's dope, but she definitely put me on IPAs, and she spoiled me like because she can explain a beer, and so she'd get one, I'd try it, she'd explain it, and then
Yeah.
I just kind of found what I like, and I would say that IPAs enable you to drink anything else. IPAs, like if you could drink the variety of IPAs, you can drink anything else because IPAs don't always taste good. Like
Gotcha.
they're more hit and miss than other beers in my opinion because like they could be
That's the most Stockholm syndrome answer you've ever given. They hurt so bad that you could take anything after doing that.
it's true. I could drink literally any other kind of beer because I've had some bad IPAs. But great IPAs are my favorite
They
beers.
hit.
Like
Okay.
more than everything else, a good IPA slaps about as much as a Scottish ale. I like Scottish ales too.
Okay.
That's
Bro, I'm
delicious
trying to
too.
get some beer sponsorships. I don't know about y'all. I'm trying to
Hey,
get a beer. I'm trying to get any alcohol sponsorships. You know what I've been doing now for fun, and I did this on Lost because it's like I like to do fake sponsorships. It's like if I'm like drinking on something, I'm like this stream's sponsored by Espolon Tequila. Espolon Tequila. When you want a great, refreshing, crisp tequila taste, lime or without a lime, Espolon Tequila. It's like shit like that, bro.
that one because I need to drink sponsorship too.
Bro, hop on. Bro, I'm telling you, it's the wave. That's like the wave. You practice sponsorships, and then eventually someone's like, oh, shit, you have a sponsorship? And then you have a reel of things that you could show a brand. Like, look, I do tons of sponsorships.
That's brilliant. I'm writing that down. I'm stealing that one. That
Bro,
one's good.
I'm telling you.
Good.
I'm telling you. I'm trying to be like Hugs and get he has a Voodoo Ranger sponsorship, I think, a craft beer.
I'm so jealous. Like I don't think Voodoo Ranger's all that great, but they have some pretty good ones too. It's like I'll take it. I would
Fuck
actually take any beer,
Yep.
liquor,
Yep.
Probably that's actually, you know what? I don't really fuck with snacks, so I couldn't even do like a
Yeah.
anything like that. I probably wouldn't like too many fast food places. I just don't like cheese.
Are you an energy drink guy?
Oh, I hate energy drinks.
Oh.
I drink black coffee if I want some energy. Just some regular ass black coffee. It's my yeah.
I'm
Oh,
trying.
you don't drink
I'm
black
trying to. I'm
coffee?
trying to think. I'm trying to. We need to find his vices, chat. What are his vices? Where does
I
Joey falter?
y'all wanna know what's wrong with me?
What's your Achilles heel, bro? The
My
Achilles
Achilles
man bun.
my Achilles heel.
Someone said side betting.
Hi, buddy. What Achilles heel would be something that like is probably damaging me more
Yeah.
than it's helping.
What will bring your downfall? Like if I was
What will
your sworn mortal enemy and I'm watching my VOD or this VOD and I'm like, oh, let me write this down.
look, women.
Mm,
Like, you know, that's
the
I
power you.
definitely women. In a good relationship, I am at my peak.
Hmm.
In a loving, supporting relationship, I am at my creative, producing peak because I don't have to worry about the aspects of me that normally drive my anxiety thinking when I have a safe and secure relationship.
Gotcha.
It allows me to throw all that energy on to whatever I'm doing. So in a great relationship, I am at peak creative producing abilities. Out of a relationship, I don't seek relationships, but
Right. Good strategy.
a lack of relationship makes me feel like I'm missing something because when I imagine myself complete, I do have a person there with me. And because I through the course of relationships, I found that while I'm not codependent, I do like having a partner, somebody because
Confidant. Hmm.
I'm not a very trusting person,
Mm.
uh, and I don't this is probably the part that I'm outing myself on. I don't really
Go.
respect a lot of people's words and actions. And typically if I find somebody who I want to be my partner, I do respect and appreciate their thoughts. So then it's easier for me to
You have standards. You have high standards.
not
Not
necessarily.
standards. You have a high you have a high idea of
It's
character.
because okay, for me in my history, the thing I've lacked more often than anything else is somebody who I could speak my mind freely and have them understand me and also be able to communicate back to me
Gotcha.
value that I can't find within myself. Because before I speak something, I will evaluate it myself a bunch of different ways. And if once I've formed some thoughts in my head, I want to speak them out to somebody. And they don't have to respond. It's enough for me to say it out loud to jog my thinking. But if I can also trust and believe that they're listening and they care about me and my seeking a solution or an answer, then it makes me more confident. And then also because I respect and appreciate their thoughts, when they say things, I'll use it rather than just letting it slide off.
Gotcha.
Because that's normally what I would do for a lot of people.
Gotcha. That's very introspective. Okay, so you hear that, chat? If we ever want to destroy Joe, we go back in time, and we put some ne'er do well person in his line of in his path.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Look, if you really want to destroy me, pay somebody to fall in love with me and for me to fall in love with them, and make sure they have enough conviction because I'm a fucking catch. They're gonna fall in love. Make sure they have conviction that when that time comes around where you need them to pull the plug to destroy me,
Yeah.
that they're actually gonna do it. Because I cook.
Oh no, you would win them over.
I'm growing wealth. I'm growing my own company. I like the outdoors. I'm personable. I'm good at beer pong. I give back rubs. I got palm deep. No, look, I got so much to offer that they're not gonna want to leave.
I feel that. You hear that, ladies?
My way, but make sure they're willing to leave after all it's said and done.
Damn. So you're saying it's gonna be impossible to find someone who won't? They'll be there holding the plug, and they're like, I can't do it.
I tell myself that all the time. I'm like, I'm a catch.
That's good. That's how you should. I mean, yeah.
You know how long I spent organizing all these skills, learning how to cook.
Amen.
You know what?
Amen.
Humble beginnings of only sandwiches.
Hey, what kind of sandwiches though? Ham and cheese? What are we talking?
My go-to sandwich is definitely some Swiss cheese, which I don't like cheese. People that hear me say that are probably gonna be surprised, but I do like Swiss cheese on probably some Cajun roasted turkey, uh, with some stone ground mustard, large grain on 7th grain wheat with a little bit of lettuce, and that's about it. Yeah.
Bro, I love how I asked Joe a question. Motherfucker has the ingredients list and paragraphs. Did you work at Subway?
No.
Oh,
No,
you
that's
just I would have said ham, cheese. No. Okay. Well, all right. I really, if there's one topic though that I wanna get on, it's the one of you building this underground secret army, and how you plan on deploying them across the Austin cityscape. Like, what can you talk a little bit about that? Like, because one time I was talking to you and you're like, oh yes, I have an army of minions, not minions. I don't want to say minions. I have an army of people who can host and run any tournament I throw at them. Like, I was like, what the fuck? And it was when we were around the time of the anime with Suri stuff, and I was like, I know he was good. I didn't know he was this good.
So, man, I was okay.
What have you been
So
doing? What's happening?
I ran away. I was like, oh, he's asking for what? Like, okay. So first of all, I didn't name myself Donzo. I would never have chosen that name for myself. Um, that moniker was given to me by some friends. Uh, and personally, I feel like it was unwarranted. I'm not the type of person.
Kind of mean.
But if the shoe fits, I shall wear it.
If the mask.
So, so I don't think I don't think I perpetrate anything behind any scenes.
Yeah.
What I do have are plans for Austin, and the only way I can do that, what I have planned, is if I can find enough people underneath me with enough passion about events organization that I can train them, get them to where they can run a tournament of any level on their own to my standards, so that I can then go and create in another place, another city, or another day, or another venue, another game, whatever the case may be. So Austin's pretty big. There's not a lot of event organizers in Austin for esports. Out of all the LAN cafes,
Yeah.
bars, all these different venues that could potentially be it, there's nobody throwing tournaments outside of a large scale convention that is in the Austin Convention Center, like PAX or something like that. There's nobody doing it. So because there's nobody doing it, the goal was to find all these small little niche communities that are meeting in tens of people, and to get them all to the same areas so that they can all cross pollinate, and with that grow outward and upward. So the goal, and it may never work, it may never rise up, because it's dependent on me finding other people, and that's again something that, if that's continued success, I worry. But the goal would be to separate Austin into districts, like 5 different districts. We have one south district that would go probably below 270 and all the way down to Slaughter, and it would cover that whole area. Then probably one center Austin near downtown UT campus, around that area. And then we would probably have one close over by Cedar Park area, one by 35 north of 183. That would be 4 different ones, and then probably a Round Rock Fluga area for one. And that would probably cover all of Austin. And you have 5 weekdays, you have 5 districts, you would then have 5 games. And if you were to travel all of Austin to each of the districts, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for the same game, you could play that same game 5 days a week if you wanted. Or stay in your one district where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be a different game each time, and then you could just stay in that district. You would need 5 venues, 5 tournament organizers minimum, and all of it would be to where nobody's stepping on each other's toes in terms of different games
Yep.
being on the same game being on the same nights in different areas, and everyone would have their piece of the pie. You could choose, do I want to play all the different games? Do I want to play one game 5 times a week? And because there's not people doing it in Austin, if we laid the groundwork for it, that's all it would be. Like, we would have the infrastructure, and then it's just about getting a couple of venues to commit, and then at that point you don't need to find any more venues, you don't need to find more TOs, you don't need to branch out further games.
Just build up.
25 scale, and then that's it. You just kind of work from there.
You build up. Yeah.
We'll see how it works, because the thing about that plan and why it probably won't work is because what it would mean is finding a niche community and making them feel like they have something to gain from partnering with a different community that's not playing the same game. So if they don't have any aspirations for growing beyond their current status quo, then
they'll
they
see a
have no
benefit.
incentive.
Yeah.
Right. We've experimented with Tekken at one point, and that was a very, very hard scene to break into. The mentality of that scene is old and set, and if you don't exist in that community, you're an outsider, and the only way they have to look at you is
very tribal.
Suspicion. What do you want from us? And that you could try and form relationships, but it's a time game. It's a time game. It's everyone happy game. It's like it's in order to make it work, you have to build bridges and form strong bonds, and I think we did that, but it didn't happen the way I thought it would happen. And when I made this plan so long ago of the different districts, different days, different games thing, it was under the assumption that the bridging of the communities would happen in a different way. And when it didn't happen that way, I now have to go back to that plan with a different mentality, because I think that there's a way that it could still be done, and there's the way I wanted it to be done.
Gotcha.
And
how it actually plays out.
Yeah, and I think that I will have to forge new paths in order to make that plan come to fruition. We'll see if it happens, but it's really, really, really hard to earn the trust of people who have been taken advantage of before, who are close to each other in terms of community, who don't have a lot in common with you, where there's not a shared respect, a lot of things like that. And then also, if you're, let's say, reaching out to a community, that community is going to talk about you when you're not there to each other, because they're a community. They're going to, vet you on their own, and so that can lead to a splitting of different views within that community as you interact with them. So I can interact with some people, and it's like, well, they don't think that you're a threat. They're down cool. And then there's the other half that you interact with, and they think that you're a threat, and so they're going to treat you a certain way, and you'll get the feeling. And then you're like, damn, what's the right way to handle this? So it's there's a lot of struggles, and you can't bank on money to get you through, because you could pay these people to run tournaments, you could pay them to bring their people, you can give them new venues to play in, you can set them up with new large events to invite people to, you can give a lot, but in the end, you can't,
they have to be bought in.
You can't force something like that to happen. Something that involves cooperation, trust, and dedication like that. It's something that you can't just build easily, and it may take more than one attempt. But it's a cool plan.
No, I mean it's crazy. Hearing you describe all of that sounds exactly what we hear in like organizational politics. So like I work as a consultant. I'm pretty sure. I think you do too. And that's literally all we hear about is like organizational like change management. It's like when you go into an organization, there are people who will be like, yeah, this is great to your face, and then they might not actually think that, or when they go back, or they're not bought into the idea of whatever new technology or whatever you're trying to bring into an organization. And that's like you describing the struggles that you're having, reaching out or getting, or like working with these communities is the same exact thing that they talk about in like change management and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a lot of the same concepts, because when you're inviting a smaller community to partake in a bigger event, you are ultimately just giving them a place to do what they already do on their own,
Mm-hmm.
but with oversight now, and towards a vision. And so, like, that's kind of it'd be easy if you could just be like, all right, show up at this time, knock it all out, you got this, and good luck, have fun, blah blah blah. It doesn't work like that. It'd be so nice if it did. And there's a lot of struggles with it, but I think struggling is not the worst thing that can happen.
Right. I mean, it's like you said. It's like you're doing this with the good intention of making sure all of Austin would be united, like to build it up. It's only with the best intentions, right? It's not like it's nothing. It's for the good of the.
Get their people to come to my event and then
Right. No.
exit their leaders and
Let's
like,
throw
all right,
five different giganto majors here in Austin.
yeah, like I'm not trying to do that. I have my intentions is to make Austin, which is already a tech capital of the United States slash
Yeah, they
UT.
okay.
I mean, come on, there's a lot of tech here, and then the UT is like massive. So it's like the population is geared towards video game, like by virtue of always being on computers and by their age. Like, and there's no infrastructure for it.
Tesla is gonna be out there now.
Yeah, hey, yeah. I mean, and if I don't do it, somebody else will, and whoever does it ultimately may not have the best intentions in mind.
Right.
They may not care about making sure that communities stay whole and stay what they are. I'm not trying to change your community. I don't want to change its leaders. I don't want to do any of that. I just want us all to collaborate at the same event to make the event look big so that we can grow it even further and more people will come. I don't want anything from you. I just want your cooperation so that we can all benefit. Like, and somebody else may not think that way. Somebody else may think, where's your blueprints? Good, I got them. Let me hire somebody. See you later.
That's rough, man. I really hope you can help or that you get some support in trying to break through to these people or break into these kinds of communities, because it's such a great vision. I am 100% for any type of esports, anything here in Texas. So, as much as it pains me that, you're doing this in Austin instead of good old Houston, Texas, that just gives, if anything, it gives a inspiration for people here locally and people like me to try to be more involved and try to have these bigger kind of ideas to just elevate the esports in general and then esports in Texas, right? So
yeah. I think a lot of like with that training event thing, it's like if you can please the lowest level players, those are the people that pay the bills.
Amen.
So like all you gotta do
that's
is
the lifeblood.
please them, please those people, and then level those people up. And when you level those people up and raise your bottom line, everything else rises with it. It's like, and I think as far as events go, Texas, I feel like obviously with the things that are happening in the Smash community and then large communities at large, like Houston probably doesn't have a scene really. A lot of their TOs are out of commission, and there's not really static venues that are legacy at this point.
You're telling me.
They don't. Yeah. So Houston's gonna be suffering. There's a lot of room right now that if you were to, be interested in it, you could make a place there right now. Dallas has T-Lock. That's set in stone. If you come in, you're simply working off of what T-Lock doesn't already have. San Antonio has their group is really a lot of more. It's weirder. It's like they have the otaku people.
Yeah. Taco
They
Cafe.
had uh, but it's a little bit more decentralized. There's not a specific person, but they have like a couple people that typically push the needle. Like Geoboros is normally their main person that's like handling the paperwork in the back scenes. So there's not really much room there. Also because that's a poorer scene. Like they don't like spending money as often. So like
Hmm.
there's not really room to grow there. RGV, same issue. There's not a lot of capital down there. There's not a lot of
Hmm.
people down there. There's not a lot of room to grow there. So there's probably not going to be starting over there. Like right now, Houston's prime pickings. Austin, under development. Everywhere else in Texas, currently established. Like those are all the metropolitans.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Then we all make up Texas, and that's it. Like then we are the face of Texas. And so, people listening, if it's anybody in Houston, you're definitely going to have a
A
lot
land
of
grab.
fresh ground to plant in, and now is the time that you would want to start doing that and getting prepared for it. Austin, don't even bother.
Oh. Oh.
Don't come to my city. Don't
Oh.
don't come here.
Don't come if you're not gonna come right, is what he's saying.
I'm not saying you can't host a weekly here. I'm not saying that you can't try, but I'm also gonna be aware that you're trying, and I'll be there at the first event, and I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna throw my weight around, and I'm gonna see whether or not you're a good person. And if you're a good
Yeah.
person, I'm be like, hey, let's
Wonderful.
go there.
Yeah.
And if you're not a good person, I'm gonna crush you. I'm just
I
gonna
love it.
I'll start a weekly up at the same time.
Mama Bear.
Yeah,
For
I
the
do
good of the
care.
scene. Yeah.
I
It's the
every
integrity.
event, yeah, every event in Austin that I found out about, whether it be DBZ Fighters, whether it be an FPS game, an Apex tournament, what have you, doesn't matter the game. I always go out. I always meet the organizers. I always try and figure out who's trying to start something in Austin. And I'm just trying to make sure that they are respecting us as players and community and as more than just cash cows. And as
Yep.
long as that's happening, cool, whatever. Like, that's good.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, I want to give you space to close it and bring us home. I will say, I told the same thing to Krebs, and I'm gonna say to you that if you're not already, I highly recommend getting all up on LinkedIn, because the type of stories and experiences that you have from working esports events from the ground is something that I think is a voice that I think is lacking in LinkedIn. And when you have such a hot trending topic such as esports that is accessible on a platform such as LinkedIn, that people are looking at, people are actively looking at and getting involved in, I think that the types of voices that y'all both have would be something that could be reach a wider audience easily with a perspective that they may never have had. So I told Krebs, don't sleep on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that y'all can offer there. I think the attention is there, and that y'all's experiences could be hot tick, something people don't even know about. People who go into esports, they don't know that type of story and stuff. So it could be really interesting. So
Yeah, man, I'll definitely look into that. That's a good idea. I didn't think about that, but you're right. I
bro,
can
there's
see
so
that.
much money. People just want to fucking throw money at stuff, or at least throw they want to get more involved and learn more about it. So it's okay, you write up here's my experiences as a tournament organizer for esports events here in Austin, Texas. Just a little whatever the fuck. And I say LinkedIn specifically because there's a lot of organic kind of reach that you can have on LinkedIn with the hashtags and stuff. You put hashtag esports, hashtag Austin, hashtag Texas, it's gonna blow up and stuff. That's how I got to know the Valhalla Esports Lounge people, just from LinkedIn and stuff. And that's how I got asked to do some talks. I got asked to do one talk. I got asked to do some other stuff just off of LinkedIn, unrelated to esports, but still just because I was posting and I'm in Houston and blah, 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 So don't sleep on it. I highly recommend it.
I will definitely take that recommendation.
But the floor is yours. Anything you want to leave these people with? Anything that we haven't touched on? Anything you think is important to you? Anything you want to impart? I open the floor. The floor is yours. He's thinking, chat.
I think, man, This year's been crazy.
Yep.
But in like a month, I turned 30. It's gonna be
God
crazy.
damn, old ass man.
Yeah, I got plenty of gray hairs.
Old ass man. Ew.
Listen. As far for people who are listening right now, who are very obviously younger than me, the advice I have, you're not gonna take, and I'm okay with that. I get it. You know why? Because I didn't take advice when I was younger because I thought I knew it on my own, and that's fine. That is totally an option. You can just forge your own path. You can do it as you see fit, and I mean honestly, you be damned to anybody who's in your path. I feel that. You know why I feel that? Because that's exactly what I did. I didn't give a fuck. And that's fine. Like you can totally live your life that way. I will say though that you are going to find a lot more doors open to you if you approach the world from a position of objectivity and kindness, where you have no need to form an opinion until it is required that you make a decision. And when you make that decision, as long as you respect people who that decision may affect, and you try your best to do what you need to do while still caring about the people, that are involved, then you're always going to be satisfied with the outcome of these decisions because you tried to make sure that you understood as much as you could, you asked as many questions as you could, you had as many perspectives as you could, and then you made the decision that was best for you in the way that doesn't negatively impact as many people as you can avoid impacting. The caveat to that is that nobody else is living the life that you're living. So you are sometimes going to have to make hard decisions where you're going to come to it with objectivity and you'll take in all the facts and take in all the information and you'll know the people that are involved and you'll know the way that you should care about them. And yet you will still deep down feel as though the best decision for you is not the best decision for all. And you should make those decisions if you think you can live with them, because you're going to have to live with them. So, to summarize that, make sure that you're coming with ears open, mind open, heart open, that you make sure that yourself is happy. You try and make sure as many people as you can make happy with your decisions are also happy. And then you just be extra patient with yourself and loving of yourself because inevitably it will be you against the world. And that doesn't mean that you're wrong. And it doesn't mean you have to apologize. And it doesn't mean that you have to retract that position. It just means that the decision that you made is for you. And as long as you want to stand by it, whatever that whatever happens afterwards, that's all you have to do. You have to just be able to live with it. So
Hmm.
I'll say that. I'll just say realize how you're approaching life and just realize that you're gonna get ahead if you keep your ears open, mind open, heart open, but ultimately you choose what's best for you as long as you can live with it. Yeah.
Well said. Well said. I'm in my mid 20s, so I'm not going to listen to you, but I appreciate you saying that. I'm kidding.
Look, I wouldn't listen either if I was younger. I
No,
wouldn't listen.
no. I think it's very important, and you're obviously speaking it from experience, and because you're hoping someone takes it up to not have to falter in ways that you might have. So I really do appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate you for being on the podcast. It's been long overdue. I'm very glad and grateful to have made your be someone I can, I hope you can call a friend.
Yeah.
I've learned a ton from you, and I respect a lot of the work that you do. And here's to the next one. Maybe we'll get you on the relationship podcast next. But
bring me to the relationship podcast.
Men are from Mars. All right.
I can bring.
All right. We'll see about getting that scheduled out. But I really do appreciate it. I'm down to stay for a little bit of Q&A and stuff for people here, but we're gonna go ahead and just end it here. At Joe Weekly on Twitter to stay up to date. His LinkedIn to come. And thanks a lot, man. I really do appreciate it.
It was totally dope, and I love what you're doing, man. Keep on doing it. Keep on getting people that have different opinions from you, that will still lie to you and tell you that you look pretty,
even when I'm bald as fuck.
But I love what you're doing, man. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Like I've seen you start building your way up, and I think that you seem happy with what you're doing. And as long as you're having fun, I really hope that you keep up with this, because I like it. I like this look on you. I like this productive look on you, where it seems like you have a plan, you feel creative, and it looks like you're having a lot of fun. So keep doing it, man.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Awesome.